doing today?
Good.
Good.
I'm feeling very natural.
It feels natural. Let's try this one. Hey, this is Jonah. Yes. Living in Eugene, Oregon now. I'm so happy he's here. We're going to paint and see what shakes loose. Jonah, among any other, a bunch of other things, is a musician. He was in the band Far, One Line Drawing, New and Original, and solo.
Gratitude, Kimura
Yes.
is another, just 8 million things.
Got it.
Yeah.
Man, that gratitude record. We were listening to that on the way.
Thanks.
Yeah, dude.
That's so sweet.
Man, just singing it, man. I feel so good singing those.
It's got some. That's got some melodies on it. It's got some big choruses.
I love it. I love it.
Thanks,
So
I do too.
We'll just get into it and
All right.
see what happens. I mentioned the situation with the earth tones and the emulsifier and stuff. Just shake it. It looks like, I mean, if you see it, you'll know what it looks like.
Yeah.
But, pick any color you want. These brushes are already broken in, and we're just going to do it.
Cool.
Yeah, I got your palette board over there.
Oh, right. Palette board. Yep.
And yeah. These are a little flimsy. I got Amazon.
Okay.
You know,
yeah,
they're gonna work. I think we'll be cool. Let me see. What'd you get? Oh, white. Okay. It's always curious to see what someone chooses first. You know. I got
definitely. I'm starting off in a really,
You were talking about the clouds or the sky that you were feeling.
Well, yeah. So one of my favorite sky is a sky. It doesn't matter whether it's nighttime or daytime or any tone of sky, but just a monotonal sky where I literally can't discern any difference in texture, much less any object in my whole vision. And I just really love losing track of where I am in existence. It's because it's right in my face. It's touching me pretty literally. And it's infinitely far away at the same time. And I just really enjoy that juxtaposition.
Oh, man. Seems like a meditative spot to me.
Well, that's definitely informing where I think I'm going today. We'll see.
Wonderful.
We'll see what happens when the paint starts going.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm really, really interested in ease these days and meaninglessness.
Whoa.
I'm really interested in that.
Like, that gets me. Like, are you talking about like inserting meaning into things or just meaningless? As in existence?
I'm talking about that the human software, as far as I can tell, all it does is insert meaning into things. It largely doesn't really know what's happening, but it is seeking to fill in lots of gaps in the mystery, and I'm really interested in the mystery.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
So I'm interested in experience without story.
Got it. Yes. I was talking about the other day how much meaning I observe myself putting into every interaction I have.
Yes.
Every like for sale sign out there. I'll be like,
oh,
doom. Where's the drama? You know?
Yes.
And it there's a lot of suffering in that, man.
I think it's where it all is. I'm really curious about, because I'm a real overthinker, and
welcome.
I have done a lot of thinking, and so I'm pretty interested in what the effects of all that thinking have been on my nervous system, and if I can't work out a less taxing way to exist than all of my thinking and analysis and solving and figuring out and helping and controlling and
protecting.
Oh my gosh, just give me an excuse.
Yeah, dude, same.
I've discovered that I really love bullying bullies.
Dude, I do too. Fucking A. That's
it's
really
all
cool.
of my most embarrassing moments with my daughter growing up, or when someone was threatening her or our space, and then I was a total fucking asshole in defense of that space.
Yeah.
And that a similar story has played out a lot in my life, and I think I grew up being the little. It all goes back to 0 to 10 and mommy and daddy, doesn't it?
Yes.
So I grew up being Mr. Protector of
and that's
mom
not
and
to
sis.
be dismissed. You know what I mean?
Oh, it's
a big deal.
It's to be respected and humbled by, because if I'm not mindful, the machines and stories that I invented when I was 5 are still ruling the roost, as far as I can tell.
It sounds like you go to therapy.
Sure. It's almost passe for me.
Okay. Yeah.
I was doing like weird weekend workshopy things at like 14. I was the youngest.
No way.
Yeah, I mean, so you know, Est was sort of the big dog in sort of
Yeah.
weekend workshops way back when, and then there was many offshoots that have come and gone, and I've played with just about all of them.
I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
You said something was the big dog.
Est. This guy Werner Herzog came and did these, you know, really, it's very countercultural weekend workshopy, you know, blow your mind open kind of vibes.
You were 14 rocking this.
All I know is I think I was the youngest participant ever in whatever version. I think it was called, one was called Actualizations that I did, and one was called CPI, which I think stood for Creative Personal Interactions.
Whoa.
And so I was just like this fucking just like adolescent in a room with all these like 40-year-olds trying to, you know, go through their midlife crisis. And yes, awesome. I have been steeped in self-reflection from a very, very young age, and I'm really curious about it. And like I say, I'm sort of at the place where it's like I'm at the place where I'm not even really interested in the self-reflection anymore. I'm just interested in just kind of existence.
Being.
Yeah,
that's much. Cool, man.
It's an easy thing to say.
Yeah, right.
It's been at the top of the charts for easier said than done for a long time.
Especially when you get rocked by something, you know what I mean?
Absolutely, because I mean the sensations of life, be they physical, emotional, whatever, they don't stop coming, as far as I can tell. Right. That's the whole thing.
Yeah, man.
And so it's really just about my participation within them, and especially when it's sort of discerning between cultural language and meaning and
big time
actual non-human life situations, which seemingly every non-human entity plays by some really different rules. And so anyway, whatever.
Do you mean like objects? Do you mean like
sure, all of it. I can definitely go there. I definitely talk to trees and rocks and stuff.
Yeah, I'm into that shit. I'm way down.
Yeah, I get real. I mean, because look, what knows more than a fucking rock?
I know, it's been there
forever.
It's sentient,
they ain't no new rocks.
Yeah, right.
Like rocks have
they're
been
man-made if they're fucking new. You know,
they have been. Well, yeah, but then they're not a rock. Then they're like a thing. You know, then they're But actual rocks, like out in the water, they've been there.
Yes.
The whole time,
feeling it,
watching it all go down.
I love
getting worn down by the ocean, contributing silica, like doing all their things, just in such a great conversation.
It's like, thanks
so who am I going to talk to but them?
It's odd that this comes up because I'm thinking of my own experience. But when Narcissus was looking in the pool of water, it's like the rock is reflecting something in you. You know what I'm saying? And it has its own consciousness. You can get on the materialist bandwagon all day, like it's nothing's happening here, you know, whatever. I don't give a fuck. But it's like it's like the observance of something like that. That's like alchemy. Yeah, it's like true alchemy. You know, I love that, man.
Yeah, and then that's one I often speak of the Narcissus myth because I think that's where we are with social media. I think someone finally figured out that the best drug of all was just us looking at ourselves forever.
Dude, yes.
And so the myth of Narcissus is so potent and prophetic at this point. I think about it all the time. And I love what you brought in. I love that there was so much going on, but what Narcissus came up with is like, I'm hot. You know, like that was it. Like that's what you got. and so man, it's really neat.
It's almost it's like I find myself looking in that damn black mirror, like hating my life in comparison. You know what I'm saying?
Powerful drug.
It's unbelievable, man. I didn't say my age. You didn't fucking hear that. No, I'm 47, man. Anyway.
I'm 55.
Are you
well,
really?
Gonna be 55. 54.
Oh,
55 in a couple of weeks.
Gives me hope, dude.
Hell yes.
How's your body feel?
So fucking good. I feel better at 55 than I did at 35.
How'd you do that?
By not doing much.
Sick.
Yeah.
Fucking
like
resting.
A lot of rest, a lot of gentle. Actually, over COVID, I was, like a lot of us, getting into a really bad sedentary situation.
Oh, yeah.
And my digestion was kind of going and my lower back was fucked. And it was just such a moment of, well, this could go one way or the other. And so I started doing this thing. I'm not real good at setting a high bar for myself in terms of self-care, like big rituals and all that stuff. I'm not really interested in it. I think generally the more complex and or dogmatic the ritual gets, the more it is doing the opposite effect that the practitioner would like.
It becomes a god. in that point.
Yeah,
one that's
what I'm saying.
Self-shaming.
The human software loves to do the deification thing, and it turns out we can do it just as much with an idea as with a person, as with a plant, as with a mountain. So I was interested in, letting go of that, because I thought, well, I got a lot of time here one way or another, and I can either use it to really let my body fall to shit if I want to play that sport, or I can use it to sort of play around and see what works for me. And what worked in the end was, I thought about doing this as a YouTube-y thing, a thing called 3333, where all I would do, because I would try doing yoga and all that shit, couldn't get into it. I've tried so many different modalities of meditation, of this and this and this and this, because again, I'm curious about all of it. So I would put out a mat, and I just would put on this hum of noise, as kind of, it's called
432 hertz.
It's some shit like that. It's one of those million YouTube videos. It's literally called happiness frequency.
They work.
I mean, I don't know, whatever it is. It's something neat. This one appealed to me. It had a real Fripp Eno kind of dreamy vibe, and I was like, okay, cool, I can do this. There were like no pan flutes, so I was like, okay, good.
Yes.
So anyway, so it was a good deal. So I would just put the mat out, and I would just promise myself that at some point during the day, for 33 minutes and 33 seconds, I would, if nothing, stand on the mat. If nothing, sit on it, lie on it. And I would let myself move if I wanted to move, but I was more interested in just choosing to do nothing. And it turned into some amazing conversations with a lot of chronic pain I had in my body. Where I would, again, like trees, I would sort of talk to my fucking kidney or whatever was down there, like, what's the problem? What am I missing? What's going on? And it wouldn't be these sort of literal answers. But I would just sort of move my body slowly. And I undid so much shit that not only helped me with a lot less chronic pain, but it reminded me that these are not static things.
Right.
This is not an unchangeable thing. And this is one of the things that the human software, I think, does a lot too, is it does this sort of, it puts all of the control, it pretends that, like, I'm doing this with my will, but ultimately it's giving a lot of power and control to outer forces, and here's my disease, and here's my this, and here's my that. And so I was interested in kind of doing away with all that, and it worked out really well, and I came up with a ton less chronic pain than I went in.
Awesome.
Were you a big jock as a kid?
I was, but I wasn't very good. I played football. I hated it. Loved playing baseball and basketball. But yeah, I like playing sports. What about you?
Well, I was really, really, really little, as in, my nickname was Tiny Bookman, because I always read, and I was, fucking 4'9". And so I was really good at Little League when I was a kid. I was a little pitcher, and I had this tricky delivery. So up until there was sort of AA, AAA majors, then there was the thing called Babe Ruth League.
Oh, yeah.
Where that's the one where kids starting having growth spurts and stuff, and all of a sudden there's, my peers are throwing 70, 80 miles an hour,
that's
and
stressful.
That kind of thing. And so anyway, so I was out. But the good news later, why I ask about that, is I know a lot of amazingly talented athletes who, because they had all of this skill and fun and all of the glory and joy that comes from sports and moving one's body, they did a lot of it in their youth, and they kind of fucked up their bodies.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Dude.
And so I feel so lucky about my tininess, because I really didn't compete in high school sports at all. Partly because I was a weird little stoner rebel, partly because I was just too little to do what was happening. And I'm so lucky in hindsight. My body is in such better shape than people who I grew up just admiring for all of their athletic prowess. Because my knees aren't blown out, and I've done a lot of rocking. That's easily done the most harm to my lower back. A lot of, that kind of shit, Yeah, I mean, my neck and my lower back are definitely have felt the effects of all the
and you got that yoke of a guitar on you,
That's what I'm saying. The guitar, the fucking banging, the pits, everything. So, that's been, I think, most of the pain I've been undoing. I would say largely my lower back in particular, because that seems to be where I store my ugliness. I'm a big fan of, like, Carl Jung and nothing. He's a fucking good dude, man.
Yeah, dude. And I love how he talks about active imagination and engaging with the sub-personalities and the archetypes inside. And like when you were talking to your kidney, talking to different parts of your body. those things obviously have a function. They help create part of a personality and physiology of how someone is in the world.
100%.
So they have a personality, you know,
Oh, yeah.
underneath the personality that we think we have. So
Yes.
I think it's really cool that it's almost the fact that you chose to be in a space, do nothing, but even standing on that thing is doing a massive amount.
It's a choice. It's a real choice.
Yes, dude,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So it's like hearing you engage with that stuff that is it's unseen. You know it's there.
Yep.
You can feel it.
That's
I mean,
right.
you may not be able to feel your kidney. Maybe if it hurts like a bitch, you will. But
Well,
it's
yeah,
like,
you'll feel
know
it
what
if
I'm
it wants you to feel it. Yeah,
So it's like
there will be sensation if it wants attention.
It's almost like a form of deity in a way. Do you see what I'm saying? That's where I go with the meaning.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I don't think it's like so far off, man. You know?
It isn't. And there's a neat thing with Jung, who I think is a fucking badass. And whether anyone loves Jung and Freud or not, one sort of has to concede that they are the Beatles and Zeppelin of the way we think about our minds. Like
that's awesome.
They created the structures that we live by and that we define ourselves by, for better or for worse. It's it's whatever it is.
Yeah.
And there was this dude Adler. I read a book a little while back called The Courage to be Disliked, which is one of my favorite book titles ever. And this guy Adler, he hung out with Freud and Jung at the time. He was hanging with Freud and Jung, and a lot of their stuff is more about the past, sort of whether it's archetypes and
that's good.
All of that stuff. And Adler had a really different take on it. He was much more interested. He was more of a stoicist kind of deal.
Yep.
And I've gotten so into just, again, this default. I'm really interested in the ways I exist that I don't even notice I'm existing.
Yeah, dude, come on with it.
That David Foster Wallace, This Is Water thing. Like there's a song on my last record called This Is Water about the whole thing for anyone who hasn't heard of, like a little fish is swim through the water and someone comes up and says, "How's the water?" And the fish says, "What's water?"
Yeah, right. Because
it's all that exists.
Yeah.
And so I'm so interested in the water that I live in, philosophical and ideologically, in ways in which I am making really big choices unconsciously or by default or something. So Adler talks really beautifully about ways to exist and think about ourselves that are not in the Freud and Jung traditions. And again, I love both of those thinkers.
Yeah, I'm with it.
I just love fucking around with it and going, what if I wasn't so dependent on my past for my story?
Right.
And the most convincing, the thing that he wrote that really messed with me and got me good was this idea that so a government, when a country is overthrown or whatever, if the people trying to overthrow the government win, they're called revolutionaries and blah blah, and that's the way the history's written. And if they don't win, they're called terrorists or infidels or whatever they're called. Because the people who won write this story to tell the best story for who they are now. They defeated the infidels, or they overcame the oppressors. Either one. And Adler argues that we do the same thing with our memories.
Oh, come on.
So if I want to be scared of dogs, I will remember the time the dog bit me.
And not all the other times it didn't.
Well, sure, not even the person that came after the dog that bandaged me up and was nice to me.
Yeah.
I don't remember that part.
Totally.
I remember this part.
Just the pain. Yeah.
Yes.
That's like transference. That Freud talks about transference, where if you have feelings in the past and you transfer them onto a new situation constantly, it's like you're still living in that spot in your mind.
That's right. And I would imagine that's a place where him and Adler really crossed over, because Adler's really into that. And so he just tells the story that we're all these governments that are basically curating our memories to tell the story we want to tell about ourselves right now.
Yeah.
And I just love that idea. Because I was a real Freud person and very childhood memories and childhood trauma, and I believe in all that stuff. Yeah. And I also believe that we worship it in some pretty addictive, weird ways, or at least I do. I can't.
It gives a sense of meaning. It gives a sense of purpose,
which we love.
Identified with your trauma and pain. Yes, dude.
Yeah, I think there's no more dangerous question than what is your life's purpose. Yeah. I really just, that whole question, which we just lionize as the way to happiness, I literally believe is the way to a lot of pain and self-doubt.
Lock yourself in, and it's almost like you have to just let go of who you think you are.
Yes.
I talk about this a lot. I have Tourette syndrome and OCD and that kind of stuff. And it's like, you want to talk about subpersonalities coming back in the form of unconscious energy and movement.
Yes.
Talk about Tourette syndrome, because stuff in my body, like
Yes.
in the environment or what I'm thinking, how I'm feeling,
Yes.
that's it. When I was a kid, here we go.
Yeah.
When I was a kid,
that's always 0 to 10. I'm into it. Yeah.
It's like I perceived now that I wasn't able to speak up and be heard. And I was also received a lot of violence and a lot of shame, all that stuff. So I couldn't talk.
Yes.
My body started to talk.
Yes, that's
and
right.
my body started to move. And I started to have these grunts. I started to have these really primitive sounds coming up from my gut.
Great.
Yeah. So it's like, as I get older, sometimes I'll just, in my therapy appointments, I do group therapy too. So it's like talking about the motivation when tics come up. Like, what is that tick saying? What does it need to say? And like tracing what the tick is saying from my body. Dude, it is raw.
It's the best. It is the best,
dude.
I literally just yesterday was meeting someone for kind of the first time. It was our first real hang. We had met in some different, he had bought something from me, like a cool little personal thing that I, like actually a piece of art. I do this lyric art stuff where I just do crazy improvised stuff based around song lyrics.
Sweet.
So anyway, so I did that. So that was our main interaction, but we had talked loosely about hanging out, and I was new to Eugene. I'm new to Eugene. So anyway, we went up for our first walk, and I was really outing myself to say, I am a person who is really interested in conversations that most people I've met are not.
Dude, same here.
So I just want to let you know that early, because I don't want you to hate me later. Like, I just want to tell you who I am now. And so he was holding his hands the whole time we were talking. He'd been holding his hands crossed. Well, and I said, so for instance, someday, and I guess that today is now, because I want to let you in on this, I'm going to ask you, why are you folding your arms right now?
Dude, that's it.
And he unfolded his arms.
Yes.
And I watched him kind of want to put in his pockets.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, it's okay. Just leave him right there.
Yeah.
And he was looking at me, and he wanted to cry. He was like, I'm uncomfortable. I was like, yes, this is it.
And he said it.
This is
Beautiful.
it. And I said, this is what I'm curious about. I'm curious about our tics. I'm curious about our compulsive unconscious things and what they're talking about. And I think about that. I just thought of, when you were talking about your tics, I thought about that great Martin Luther King quote, "A riot is the language of the unheard."
Oh, yeah.
Which is a great thing. And I thought about that in bodies.
Oh, beautiful.
That tics are the riots of the body.
Yes.
Yeah, they're
it's true.
Yeah, as far as I can tell.
That's really good.
So I love involuntary things, and as you say, looking for when they started, what the story is behind it.
Right.
I'm so interested in that. It's my favorite use of words. I'm not a huge,
so cool.
Words are problematic in and of themselves.
Yeah, big time.
But grunts, primal shit, movement, language to me, like right now, I'm loving our language because it's because this other thing is happening and all of this is happening. The words are. There's been a lot of study of language where it's more like bird song than we think. It's more, we're exchanging melodies. We're not really exchanging. We are exchanging ideas, but we're just doing this other thing. And more than the words, that's the last thing to the party. We're exchanging pheromones right now. We're regulating each other's temperature.
I'm doing this a lot.
Right. And when we're not physically touching each other, the closer we get, the warmer it gets.
You can feel it. Big time.
So I'm into all that.
Me too.
I'm into those conversations.
Because it's so cool to notice when you start to notice how you're affected by that, or let me speak for myself. When I'm affected by that,
I love first person.
It's like owning it.
Changes things.
Yeah, you can notice it in other people, and I found myself using it as a weapon to stay safe if I'm feeling either too big or too small. But I've noticed also when I can put compassion into the noticing,
that's right.
Then I'm able to connect to a person, because anything I'm noticing in someone exists in myself.
Yeah.
So I'm like, dude, I talk a ton of shit. I just talk shit.
Yeah.
I'm so tired of that. You know what I mean?
It's
such a little part of me, Over the past couple of years, I've just been, Ryan, dude, bro, everything is okay.
Yes.
What about that? Look inside of yourself. Yes. What about that expression that person is having, or what they're saying, or what they're doing?
Yes.
Are you jealous of something?
Yes.
Are you feeling left out? Are you feeling dismissed? Are you feeling like you just want to connect? So it's like when I start noticing those things, like, you know, I grew up in the evangelical church when I was 19 or 18 and got into that.
Oh, that'll do it.
Yeah, big time. and part of the, you know, there's parts of the scripture that says, be all things to all men, as it says, right?
Of course it does. Yeah.
And so they just like, they rip that and twist it and all that stuff. But I've realized everything and everyone else exists in me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, when I read, I don't really read it anymore by any means, but when I see little clips on Instagram of this stuff, I'm like, okay, I don't like that I'm being screamed at on Instagram from people or the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, what about this scripture do I not like?
Mm-hmm.
And where is it inside of myself? You know what I'm saying? It's crazy to play that game, but it's
fun.
It's helpful. Yeah, totally.
Well, this guy was talking about playing this. The guy I was outing myself to.
Yeah, cool.
In order to try and be decent friends.
Yes.
He was talking about playing board games, and I said to him, I love board games too, and I love lots of things. And this, and again, I was thinking about the arm thing.
Yes.
I was like, this is my favorite game.
Yeah, big time, man. Yeah.
Is checking ourselves and each other out and playfully, lovingly, compassionately.
Totally. Yeah.
Talking about, well, hey, what's going on? Just being curious about it. Just what the fuck is happening right now?
Yeah, dude.
I just love that game. It's my favorite game.
Dude, what is happening for you right now? In here, in this space right now, what's happening for you?
I've noticed more and more, I'm a very verbal creature, obviously. Mm-hmm. And my nickname was Bookman growing up. And, you know, I've written a book. And so I really love words, and I'm a songwriter and all the things. Even more than a songwriter, I like to play the instrument called the idea.
Okay.
And so I'm interested in that. And so what I'm noticing right now is that the words are like a little pressure cooker letting off anxiety.
Okay.
They're just kind of just regulating me. They're a little bit of a coping mechanism. And I'm enjoying the heat of that. And I'm really enjoying this thing I'm creating that's happening as I kind of focus. I'm not trying to do anything. And I'm noticing that I'm finding a good balance of maintaining presence with you and speaking with you and staying connected with you, and doing this weird little thing that I seem to be doing where I'm slowly doing a weird sloppy pointillist thing. And just every little dot, right now I'm thinking about choice.
Awesome.
And all of these choices that I'm making. And so, yeah, how are you feeling?
I love how you were able to articulate that you're doing something over here and you feel like you're having a good balance of staying connected to the being that I am and what we're talking about and how that is going. And the fact that words are filling the gap of the anxiety sometimes. Because when there's silence, I'm learning within people, if there's silence, I start getting into how can I make it less tense? So I've noticed when I just wait, because my previous episodes, I'm just like interrupting, you know, but I realize letting someone talk is a profound idea. You know what I'm saying? So that's I love that you mentioned that aspect, because a lot of people don't mention that, and they can't quite name it, because what's happening here is a type of trance.
Yes.
And it allows room for things to come up in the confusion of staying connected in the trance, you know? Yes. So that's my thought on that.
I love it. And I'm interested in the dual and intersecting trances that are going on. I think that's right. I'm looking for the place where I'm putting as little effort as possible into talking with you and just being here and responding and staying present to what you're saying, but not needing to jump in. As I think is true for you, I've had about 10 trillion thoughts for every single thing you've said and could go down 8 million rabbit holes about all of it. And it's really nice to go, okay, there's time to not talk about this latest wacky idea of mine. You know, it's okay.
I might not need to be heard in this right now. You know, Ryan, it's okay, dude.
I don't listen back to my podcast much, and I probably won't watch this one fully because about 20 minutes in, I get so fucking sick of myself. So I really hope it's entertaining to other people, but I am at a point where I felt self-conscious when I thought of this thing of I'm just going to go paint something white. And I started doing a lot of story with myself.
Yes.
And then I thought, no, this is just, it's first thought, best thought. I'm curious. Let's see how it feels. I can always change. Nothing is happening. I know there's no expectation about this painting.
Right.
And so I'm really enjoying it, though. Good. But I did feel conscious, like, what a bore it would be. And so, to your point, truly, and we can explore this if you want, because I'm always down for it.
Okay. I love it.
We could go into total and complete silence.
Ooh, let's do
until the end of this, and that would be it. So people could watch if they want to watch, and I suppose I spoiled it by even mentioning it. But
we just stopped talking.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, just like, honestly, nothing that we're saying is that important to me, except for the fact that I am enjoying that. Do you identify as a man?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I just got an X on my license. It's not.
I've never been asked that.
Oh, cool.
I live in the South.
Yeah, right.
Thanks for asking.
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, it's where we're at, and it's interesting to me now that we've been talking about the idea, which is fun. So it doesn't matter too much to me, except for the fact that to identify as a man in this culture, much less to be recognized as one from outside of me, is a very different circumstance than being identifying as a woman. Or being identified as a woman. And that's just empirical stuff.
Why did I just want to drop to my knees to paint? That's really interesting.
Oh, now I will, actually. That's a really good
idea. Do you know
idea.
what I'm saying? Like, what about...
that's a really sweet idea.
Like, what about...
Thank you for that.
That was going to bring me to my knees. That was really interesting. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, so I am really happy that you, a human who identifies as a man, and you got some scruff, and you got your thing, like sound like you've been through some shit. No, this is what I'm saying. Is that I like when people that could beat the shit out of me turn out to be really soft and gentle, because I feel safer. And so I really am enjoying that part of it, because if there's one thing that I think is gonna really change anything in this world, it's people who identify as men. Again, trying to check in with why. I'm not really interested in what people believe anymore. I'm very interested in why they believe it. And especially when their beliefs are the more certain or fervent they are in their belief, the more I want to know about when they came up with that story and why it's important to them to uphold.
Why is it holding so hard?
Yeah, and so the story of being a man and what it is to be a man. If
chicks,
fucking, because we're fucking man's a man, woman's a woman.
That guy's in there. That guy's in me.
Fuck yeah! No, this is water.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yes.
This is water.
Yeah,
and
no joke.
So
no joke.
I would just love if all the men could get together and, for instance, say like, hey, you know what? Let's not rape any more people.
That sounds really good.
What do you think?
Yeah, that sounds
how about it, everybody? Just that. Like, take it one at a time. We can start with rape, and then we'll go to murder.
Yeah, no joke.
Because it's overwhelmingly male-identifying creatures doing that since time immemorial. So what a beautiful change it could be if everyone was really interested in identifying as a man, decided that part of being a man was not overwhelming another physical being to get what one wants. Like, how about that?
Yeah.
That would be a neat agreement to make.
I'm into that.
So anyway, I like that you're curious about your existence and not overly dependent on what frankly, like, being a man is supposed to be, because we're doing very not manly shit right now.
Straight up.
We're on our knees
talking about
feelings and childhood and being a man. And I just I like that. So thank you for that. Thank you for spending time that way. I'm really happy that you're doing this with your days. What do you do with your days when you're not doing this?
Oh, dude. I paint. I have a 4-year-old little boy. His name's Harrison.
I have a daughter who's turning 30 this summer.
Unreal.
So let's just talk about those polls, but keep going with your story. I just wanted to throw that juxtaposition.
That really is something.
Yeah, okay,
really
4-year-old. Okay, got a 4-year-old chilling.
A late dad.
What's his name?
His name is Harrison.
Harrison.
Yeah. What about yours?
Hannah.
Two H's. Yes.
2 H's, baby.
I also, there's a lot of days I don't do anything.
Yes.
And I start, that's when I find
what a shameful sentence that is.
Yeah, right.
Such deep
especially for a man.
Oh, hell yeah.
here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because
it's crazy.
We're not supposed to talk about our feelings. We're supposed to do some shit,
Yeah.
conquer some shit, build some shit.
I feel pretty alone a lot, and I deal with a lot of rejection and a lot of like shame, and especially in social situations. And I don't.
Can you tell me about the last time you were rejected that hurt?
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah. I think it's a lot of the art stuff that I do. Painting is way different than music, man.
Say more.
Everybody's a soloist. Can you deal with that? You know what I'm saying? So
that's
So I don't really get invited to a lot of like group shows, galleries and shit. So I have my own gallery space. I have my own painting show. I do a lot of it myself, And I don't know whether in Nashville, if my personality just rubs people or my art sucks or if
well, if you talk about shit like this, like I can explain to you really quick.
Yeah, tell me. I don't know, dude. I'm over here being like, what the fuck?
I just know that the vast majority of people I've ever been around are not interested in the things we're talking about.
Yeah, true.
I've been the turd in the punch bowl at so many dinners. It's just that simple.
And dude, I will talk about. Well, I've my word of the year is and I forgot it. Modulate.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Depending on who I'm around.
Yeah.
And it's really helpful because I think the way I perceive myself is that I'll go to the end of the earth in a conversation real fast about the most tender thing that I've experienced in my life, the most vulnerable thing. And then you watch people, they're just like, you want silence. Yeah. It's like, maybe that's something to where I can keep talking.
Oh man.
I don't know.
It is so good.
But I don't know, man. I'm just trying to hang, man, and not hate people.
I dig it. That's as good
I swear to God.
That's as good a sense as I know about my existence.
Thanks, dude.
Just trying to hang and hate people a little bit less. And I'll introduce you to the fun phrase. I'm a big 12-step kid. I did way too many drugs between 12 and 17.
Nice.
Nice. And then got out and was sober for a while, and now I'm trying to have sort of an adult relationship with weed and psychedelics and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm relating to you, or at least I'm imagining I am, because I've always found myself in the middle, where I was indeed substance free, but I was not down with straight edge dogma. And I'm essentially an atheist, and I find myself so often essentially defending religion, or if not defending it, saying that it's a really way too easy a target, and that the same exact principles apply and the same dynamics are happening, whether it's politics or corporate life or religion. It's just, when there's an outsized concentration of power or money or anything else, the same problems occur. And so it really, even the blaming of religion as a specific thing is kind of a weird story that leaves out a lot of truth about the nature of interpersonal relationship overall. So anyway, that kind of sentence, the people that love religion kind of hate me, and the people that love to hate religion kind of hate me. So I'm fucked both ways, so that's why I'm not at the dinner party, because I'm that guy. Both sides will be going, and I will present a third side that both sides will turn to me and be like, yeah, fuck you especially, and go after fighting about their thing.
Why'd you have to bring that up? That's not even, that's not what we're talking about. This is an A-B conversation.
That's right. That's right.
When someone like me puts something like that in a conversation I'm having, I'm the guy that's like, fuck you, man. Get that shit out of here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like, I don't know why. It's like, again, everything exists in me too. It's funny. It's funny to me, man.
Oh, yeah. But so the 12-step thing.
Yeah, hit it. Yeah.
Oh, another reason I brought that up is that they have lots of great slogans and stuff.
Yeah.
And so my main 12-step is Al-Anon now, which is basically the one that the wives of the alcoholics invented, because they would hang out while the alcoholics were trying to not die. And they discovered that the wives, that they were just as fucking nuts.
Sure, man.
Because they were trying to stop all this stuff and control all this stuff and fix their dudes and all the things.
Because that was their duty.
And that's me. I have spent my life trying to fix and control situations that I never, ever stood a snowball's chance in hell of doing, because that's not my job. It's not what I get to control my own attitude. That's it. I don't get to control anyone else, sadly.
Right.
And so... it's really fun, but they have lots of great slogans. So for your one about rejection,
hit it. Please.
I give you rejection is redirection.
Oh, that's good.
So
that's wonderful.
The next time you're feeling the sting,
that's wonderful.
Yeah, just enjoy that. So I love all. It was a very long way of
good.
saying I love all the little slogans.
Yeah,
and I'll use a really good one for right now, which is WAIT, the word wait.
Yep.
And I like to think of it as an acronym for Why Am I Talking? just to get real apropos.
Yes, that's perfect.
And another good one is shame. The word shame.
Yeah.
Should have already mastered everything.
Oh, wow. That's helpful.
Yep.
I feel that way all the time.
These are little things that I just get when I'm feeling in my shame spirals and feeling like you. I think that feeling of alone in the world, I think that's called low self-esteem.
Yeah, right. Yep.
And I found that I either feel like a total loser that will never get anything and is never invited to any of the parties, or I vacillate really quickly between that and everyone sucks and I'm the only adult in the room and fuck this world.
Yes.
That
riff was fucking badass.
But I could have done it better.
Yeah, there you go.
I think that's what real self-esteem shame says. Low self-esteem. So I think that's all that is.
I appreciate that. It's hard to hear that.
I've got some daddy issues. My dad left when I was young, and so his absence looms large in my head and heart. And the most
it's a big deal, man.
Yeah,
it really
it's some archetypal shit, man.
Big time, man.
I was a little creature, and one of my gods went away.
Big
You
time.
know, it's
Yes.
just a wild time. And I made up some stories about that I couldn't fix him, that I couldn't keep him, that I wasn't worth staying for, that he left because I was too much of a burden.
Wow.
You know, all these,
dude.
you know, just bizarro stories that, whatever. So it's a really fun thing to look at that stuff. And I got a lot of relief when I finally just said, oh, this isn't about getting over this or finishing this. This is going to be, I'm going to walk with a limp around the subject of fathers probably my whole life.
Wow.
When I was a little tree,
Yeah.
I got fucking nicked and I got a scar there, and that's it. And it's not good or bad or anything like that.
Right.
It's just being aware and mindful that if I'm around a circle of people telling loving dad stories, I might get a little something.
Big time. Yeah.
And it's okay.
Yep.
But that knowledge and that resting with it, it took off this pressure of fixing it or solving it, because I'm such a fixer-solver person. So now there's some big things in life, mommy, daddy, you know, the big, large ones, that, you know, existentialism in general, death, all that stuff. It's not about figuring it out or getting to the bottom of it, as you were saying.
Yeah.
There is no bottom. As far as I can tell, it's that, you know, that thing where, you know, you open you're in the dark. You see like a light at the end of the long tunnel, right?
Yeah.
Stumbling, like all the horrible shit's happening in life, all the things. You finally find a therapeutic modality that works for you.
Yeah.
Oh, you open the door, light. Oh my God. And then I'm like, oh wow, there's a hallway down there. Start wandering down the hallway. It gets darker and darker and darker and darker and darker. Same fucking place.
Yeah, right.
Another doorway.
Yep.
And so that's kind of how I look at mental health these days. It's really not about this idea that I'm ever going to be out in the glorious meadow. It's more about just going through the hallway and just
seeing what's there.
Yeah, just being, it's getting a little darker. Oh, look, a little sliver of light.
Yeah.
And
cool.
Just sort of, I think that cycle has been happening to one degree or another for every creature ever, forever. So I guess I figure that's what's happening to me, as opposed to this human story, which is much more about finite stuff and solutions and life's purposes and all these words.
Water too.
That's right.
Had to.
That's right.
I fucking had to.
Bring it back, baby.
No,
I love a callback.
I think that's a good way to look at it, because I mean, what happens when you reach that light? Is it light always? Maybe that's like the ultimate enlightenment. But I mean, that would be cool, and maybe that is like that, what they call Christ consciousness. And these terms bug me, but
sure,
it's like there still is an environment to live in, and it's almost like maybe that light is at the end of that tunnel, that one tunnel. You reach the light. What do you do after that? Do you just stay in that spot? It would be beautiful. Maybe you could move about the earth a little easier. You know, I don't know.
Nothing
I don't know if
that ever existed, as far as I can tell, exists in a static state.
Yeah, right.
So it seems pretty obvious to me when I stop and think, because again, there's so many stories having about beginnings and endings and rebirth and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And I think rebirth is like the most redundant term ever written, because everything is always being recreated. And then we got stuck on this resurrection myth and other myths of reincarnation and blah, blah, blah. And it's all so interestingly human-centric. Like, I don't know what the experience of being dirt is, but I hope that it's really neat.
Not too bad. Yeah, right. Not too fucking bad.
I mean, I don't know.
No shit, man.
I don't know.
Oh, man.
It's so...
not worried about some shit, you know?
Yeah. Or maybe really worried. Maybe dirt is so stressed. Maybe that's the most stressful part of
Don't turn me into mud or turn me into mud. My name is Mud.
I bet being a cloud is pretty fucking cool. But again, maybe a cloud is like, we need to get over there. It's really too hot. Oh my God. We got to go. So I don't know.
Thich Nhat Hanh talks about clouds. You know, be like
he loves the clouds. I love.
He's a cloud now. Sorry.
Yeah. Anyway, I could go forever about this.
No, it's great.
I would
love it.
Very sincerely, I'll say this in public. Anytime you wanna, you're going through something tough, and or just want to talk about an idea.
Yeah.
Again, this is my favorite sport.
Cool. Awesome.
So,
Jonah, thank you. Likewise,
it's really lovely to be getting to know you.
Oh, you too, man.
For anyone out there, I hope anything makes sense to anyone, and mostly I hope it gives anyone some good tools to operate the human software, because it's some pretty buggy software.
Yeah, it really is, man. Get stuck.
We've done it.
Jonah, can I give you a hug?
Yes.
Awesome,
hell yes.
Dude. Thank you, man. Thank you. Oh, man. I do want to say also, man, I just love your work for so many years, and getting to meet you and talk to you was so cool.
Thank you.
And I'm glad we didn't talk about any of that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't talk about my art when it's hard. It's like, it's just part of what I do. It's not me.
Whatever it is I've been doing all these 30 years, we've been doing it.
Exactly.
We just wrote a song.
Yeah, totally, man.
Totally. We literally made a recording.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
But this is all, I mean, the first track on Far's first record for Sony was what I've wanted to say.
Yes.
And this is what I've wanted to say this whole time. Like, truly, this is it. This is all I've been trying to do. Every record, every band, everything. I'm just trying to get past my defenses and your defenses and our defenses and just be with each other, just be animals with each other.
Okay. Which one?
A creature.
Okay.
Not even that specific.
Yeah,
I do love a tree toad, though.
A tree toad?
I do.
Boom, done.
I do love a tree toad. I've loved one forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's been a little, there's a little brightly colored tree toad that I've had a picture of, at least somewhere around since I was a kid. Anyway.
Beautiful.
Hi, bye.
Thank you.
I love you. Thank you. Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you, too.